I come from hindsight, right? Like I've been doing it for a long time. There's times when I've definitely started my career. I wasn't at Stratford. I wasn't at Shaw. I wasn't doing the television series. I wasn't even getting recurring roles. I wasn't even getting anything. And all my friends were doing all these fantastic things. And again, it's not comparison. It's just ups and downs. You're kind of all in it together. And I really believe in supporting each other. Know that you are cheering for them and rooting for them because you know your time will come. And actually, you get inspired by them. You don't want to have the same career as them, but you will be inspired by people.
Hey there, it's Ginny.
And I'm Monica.
And this is Hitting Her Mark,
a podcast for women in the arts, actors, filmmakers, artists who are passionately chasing their creative dreams,
while juggling the beautiful chaos of caring for those they love.
We're here to share stories, insights, and inspiration, proving that you can hit your mark without compromising what matters most.
So if you're ready to make your creative dreams a reality, let's dive in.
Catherine McNally is an award-winning actor, director, coach who's been in the industry for 37 years. With many TV and film credits, most recently, the Canadian Screen Award-winning, Oscar, Golden Globe, BAFTA-nominated film, The Apprentice, playing Donald Trump's mother, Mary Ann. She is also a celebrated theatre actor, an international fellow at Shakespeare's Globe in UK, and co-founder of one of the top acting studios in the country with her husband Robert Kennedy under McNally Kennedy Acting. Catherine is a native Torontonian, proud mum of Kieran, a competitive swimmer, and a health and wellness entrepreneur with Arbonne. Please welcome Catherine McNally. Welcome, Catherine McNally, to the podcast. I met Catherine years ago when I was just dipping my toe back into the industry and decided to take my first class back. And she was a very supportive acting coach at Armstrong Acting Studios at the time. And she has now since opened up her own acting studio with her partner, also an actor, Robert Kennedy, called McNally Kennedy Acting. Catherine is an award-winning actor, director, coach, whose career has spanned 37 years with many TV and film credits. But most recently, the Canadian Screen Award-winning, Oscar, Golden Globe, BAFTA-nominated film, The Apprentice, playing Donald Trump's mother, Mary Ann. She's a celebrated actor, an international fellow at Shakespeare's Globe in the UK, and she's also a mother and a health and wellness entrepreneur with Arbonne. So let's dive in, Catherine. We've got lots to cover.
Sure.
We like to kick every episode off sort of starting from the beginning of your journey. So where did your artistic path begin for you?
You know, the bumblebee when you're 5, right? Like, no, I'm not going to go there. That would be just too long. So the irony is that I did come from a very creative home. My mom was a school teacher, primary school teacher, so it was always very magical, creative. And I guess if you're going to go back as far as that, we had like Little Women kind of style of our childhoods, where we spent the summers up the lake. We were one of those blessed people. Not when it was really bougie to have a cottage. It's when cottages were kind of like shacks. And rustic. And so there was no water. There's like, you know, a toilet and maybe a boat, not a phone. But we had to fend for ourselves. And we put on shows every summer. So we created plays and we would rehearse for the month of July. And then we would perform every August, and we would go around up and down the roads and our boats and drop off invitations, and people would come, right? They would come.
How many of them were you?
We did. There was always my sister. She was the star of it. She was the writer, producer, director. I'm the baby sister, so I was the filling in of space. So I was doing the comic relief as she did the costume changes. And my brother was the technical advisor, which was the portable the portable's record player. And then if we had a guest up for they would automatically be part of the show. So you just were part of it. And people would dock their boats and come and see us. We did that for about like 4 summers. It's hilarious. Can you imagine if someone knocked on your cottage door with pigtails and no teeth? That's like it's a CR play. You would go, wouldn't you go? I'd go. I
totally go. Well, especially when, during that, that's what you do when you don't have all that TV and internet and stuff. You just did stuff outside.
Yeah, boredom really creates creativity, right? So, you have a piece of driftwood, you have a lake, you have some clams, you played mermaids, you played pioneers, you played. And you made make-believe all the time. So that was that. And then it's interesting because in public school, it was mandatory to take a theater class in grade 7. which isn't part of the program now. Like, it's not mandatory.
No.
And everybody would joke about it. Say, oh, it's an easy credit. You just have to pretend to be a Campbell soup can on a conveyor belt and you get the credit. And Ms. de Villiers was my drama teacher. She was awesome. She had big culotte pants. She was always dressed in black. She did all this kind of movement like sea serpents, right? And I would just imitate her. And I'd go, oh, I'm into this. I didn't really think I'd be an actor, but yeah. And then then I did my first Shakespeare when I was, oh, you really asking me to do this. When I
love this.
I was 11 years old, and it was all female cast of Twelfth Night. They took it on as a project. And of course, I read the play, and there's beautiful Olivia, and there's Viola, and there's Mariah, and there's all girls, right? And I thought, oh, I want to get Olivia. Nope, didn't happen. I got Malvolio, the guy that had to wear the yellow stockings and the garters and everything. And I just went, oh, whatever. So I just committed completely to it. And because why not? And when we performed it, I got to the scene when, cross-gartered and dancing around. And I thought, everybody was laughing. And I couldn't figure out, why are you laughing? Like, what's so funny? And then I realized, oh my God, this is what it's about, right? Oh my God. And then of course okay, here we go. In kindergarten, get a load of this. You had to audition to get into a play. It was Cinderella. You had to audition. Okay. So not only did I not get in the first time, they auditioned again because one of the girls dropped out of the waltzing scene in Cinderella in the ballroom. Auditioned for that again. I didn't get it. I didn't get into the church choir, in the choir either. My mom was pissed because she was a grade 1 teacher. She's like, what's going on? Our backyard was overlooking the school. And choir practice was always at Thursdays at 2:00. And I would go to the backyard, sing on the swing, and sing as loud as I could a favorite song that I had. So Ms. Hazabera would stop her choir practice and go, who's that siren singing? We must have her in the choir. So like hopeful, right? So very humble beginnings. My first audition,
so sweet.
Isn't it crazy?
It's kind of a movie.
And here
I love that. Yeah.
Can you imagine? But then again, it was high school, and the Sears Drama Festival was a huge part of our growth and development as actors at the time. They still have it as part of the National Theatre Drama Festival that I think NTS sponsors. But that was a big thing, right? Like, you put on a play, it was in competition. I did Waiting for Godot. I played Pozzo, which you're not supposed to do. Women are not supposed to play in that play. Like, Beckett's very clear about you're not supposed to play women, but we did. And I just did it. And I was a bit of an introvert, extrovert. Like, I liked the collaboration and working with people and being creative, but I was not really happy. Like, I was kind of awkward, those hormonal, but I found my people in high school. And then I just thought, this is what I want to do. And I just couldn't decide what I wanted to be. So I figured if I was an actor, I could be a doctor, lawyer, teacher, a missionary. I could go on all these adventures. I don't have to study for 12 years, medical school, and then decide I don't like it anymore. It was very practical. So then I went to Queen's. I got my degree on drama, and then I went to theater school. Went to Lambda. That was that was my conservatory drama school training, and then I got back. Oh gosh, when did I get back? And I got back, and then just dove right into the theater community in Toronto. It was primarily theater. That's all I did was theater. There was very, very little film and TV at the time, and I got into Muskoka Young Festival. That's where I met Rob, my husband. We weren't together at the time. We were buds for like 5 or 7 years. And we did all sorts of plays together and stuff. And that's how I did it.
So you started your career sort of in the theater scene. And how did you know? You were looking and you just started auditioning, and then it just would sort of feed itself from there. So at what point did you get an agent?
That's a good one. Yeah. Well, the agent situation, I didn't know anything about agents. I didn't even know how to slate. I didn't know, like, hi, my Catherine. I didn't know anything like that.
Because they don't teach you all of that practical stuff in school.
In theater school, or in conservatory,
I had no idea how to do a slate. It was kind of embarrassing. My first slate I ever did, I slate with this actor by the name of, his first name was Elf. And I thought, like, it's a Swedish name, right? And I thought that was a joke. I thought, like, Elf, Disney, like, you're supposed to, like, make fun. So then I said, hi, my name's Barbie. This is for Trident commercial, Brian Levy. Like, isn't that sad? I had no idea. It was ridiculous. And so they kind of looked at me and said, no, can you give us your name, please? Is it my real name?
Checking your resume.
I didn't get it. And so those kind of
this guy.
But he's Elf. His name's just Elf. So why can't I be? So It was kind of crazy, right? Like you think of those things, mistakes you made. And so, yeah, my agent, that was an interesting story. I didn't know about agents. I didn't know about being a member of equity or part of the association, but that was a thing. Like, you learn that as you're in your first gig. Yeah. And I ended up getting an equity contract right out of that. And I toured across the country at the Olympic Torch when it went to Canada, to Calgary. And Miles Potter, PT, Paul Thompson, granddaddy of Canadian theatre, amazing experience. So I got an agent because I got this gig. And he was okay. He kind of didn't do well. Like he embezzled money from actors within a year. So then I got another agent and that didn't go over well. She didn't know what to do with me. So then I got another agent and they like, she never got me any auditions for film and television. Like I never saw a casting director. I was just getting my own theater gigs up to that point till somebody said, no, you should be seeing casting people. What is your problem? And so I
Right.
just went,
Yeah.
well, I think I need to move on. But the head of that agency would come and see me in plays, and he was kind of upset with me because I didn't come and talk to him first, because he would have found me someone else, because he liked me and he wanted to keep me. But then I went to another agent after that. It was too late by that point, and I stayed with that person for a long period of time, and they lost a gig for me. And I kind of went, well, I need to move on to the next one. And the next one was amazing, but I was in my 40s at that time. And honestly, openly, I don't hold anything against this person, but literally said, I don't know what to do with you in your 40s. You're a woman. And that's after I had my son. And so I was a new mom. I already had 3 gigs, theater gigs that I got on my own, like major stuff. And basically didn't know what to do with me. So I went to my agent that I have now, and I've been with them for many, many years. But, it's all growing pains. Like you don't know what you don't know until you do it. And it happens all the time. Our life, actors have to understand we live in the world of uncertainty every time.
Oh, 100%.
And good actors know that, right? Like we know that. So
Yeah.
the whole world lives in a world of uncertainty, but we get it. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It's amazing. So I could see the trajectory too. So what was that transition from going from theater, inhabiting presence on stage, to then working on camera? Like, what was that adjustment and how did you learn? Was it just by trial and error? You just sort of learned through auditioning and or did you go to class, or how was that transition for you?
You always go to class. Like I know there's a kind of a thing here in Canada. Like in England, they don't really go to class. You graduate from drama school, they're not going to class. We go to class. And I went to theater. I went to film class. I took David Rotenberg, right? Because he was kind of the guy. And I went with him, and I loved working with David. He kind of spoke my language. He really loved theater actors. He could tell. He could find out what I was without imposing a certain kind of male gaze aesthetic that sometimes happens with young actresses, and which really did not suit well with me. I was, in theater, I kind of looked like a leading lady, right? Like I was kind of like that Shawstraffer person, but there's an essence about me that doesn't fit into that. Like I just didn't get those kind of roles. In film, I was kind of like the best friend of, or the quirky. And that kind of comes in as you get a little bit older. So I wasn't getting a lot of film and television. But I work a lot with theater actors transitioning into film. The mechanism, the juices of who you are as an actor is always there. And it's just about how you channel it. I look at like water faucets, right? You in control of the pressure, the temperature, how you gauge it. It comes from the same plumbing. You just have to gauge it in a little way. And theater actors know how to work space, right? Whether it's a big space, we know how to fill that space. And I always find it difficult to listen to theater actors say I have to make it small. You're not making it small. You're just putting it within the space that you can do, that you have. So the camera picks it up. And it's also understanding with theater, there's the circles, right? There's a circle within myself. There's a circle with my fellow actor. And then there's the circle with the audience. And it's constantly reclining with like that. I'm sure you know that, Monica, right? And with film, it's within yourself and your fellow actor. And the camera's the third circle. The camera picks it up. So you have to be generous to let the camera do its job and not try to do it for it. So, and there's certain navigations and adjustments that you make based on genre. So the camera then picks up the performance and understanding your space, how you work that. So that was just through trial and error. Like, I really think you learn by mistakes, right? That's only really the way how you learn. And, I think there's a generosity when people know that we were all sort of starting early on in the film and television world, and we were still trying to find our way in. A lot of the time I learned also by coaching. Like, I'm very blessed to work with actors. Like I love working with actors. I learn from watching them. I learn as a gift to me to be able to help as well as receive. So you're constantly, Rob and I say this every day, how blessed we are because we get to work on scripts every day, like literally hone our craft every day. Because either we're in rehearsal for something, we're helping an actor, we're doing it ourselves, we're actually picking up new scripts all the time because TV and film is new. They're not like, this is, unless you're doing a film version of Hamlet or something, but it's got that kind of immediacy. And it forces you to be present every day because each actor is different, right? And you have to learn to be receiving end of whatever they're offering in their essence and really highlight that for them. And I've worked with very diverse actors too as well. I'm working with an intellectually challenged actor right now that's a lead in lead in a film. So I've been coaching them in that process. So yeah, you're getting tons. And I think that's really how it happened for me. So mostly really good teachers, I'd say, and generous, kind people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And almost it sounds like it's a lot of life experience and trial and error and being okay with it, right? That resilience of being like, you know what? Things did not work out the way I thought it was going to, but I'm not just going to stop. I'm just going to get a new agent. I'm just going to try something new. I'm going to.
And I think you have to understand what resilience is. Like resilience, I sometimes think they think resilience is an end result, and that's what it is. But it's like they don't know, and I'm resilient. But there's a space in there that people don't see, right? And that's the day to day. That's the feet underneath the water.
Oh, yeah.
Not the beautiful swan. And then people go, "Oh, you're so resilient," but you don't know you are. You have no idea you are. You're just, making do or trying to figure it out. And the thing with actors is that we're creative people. So you want to have a theater kid. You've probably seen that video, hire a theater kid. They're the ones who know how to have interpersonal relationships, be innovative, be creative, show up, solve problems, figure things out. And also be really present. And I think that's one thing that actors really have is about being present with another human being and understanding the humanity that is required for us to do the work that we do. Self-awareness is really important, personal growth and development, as we know. That is not taught in theater school. It's not taught how to mind your mind, what's between the ears, right? How to not go for perfection, but go for presence, being present, because perfection and competition is the death to any creative person. Now, we all want the gig, right? Like somebody has to get it. But we have to let go of the transaction of what we do.
And as a coach, you've learned so much with your partner in terms of teaching up and coming actors, all kinds of different actors. You work with actors at various stages of their careers. But one thing I just wanted to mention, as I was coming back into the industry, it was my first class. This was in 2017. It was my first class ever back after a 15-year hiatus of not acting. And I was so nervous. I remember, you won't remember this, Catherine, but I remember it. So just so you know the impact you have on students. And then at that stage in my life, I was taking a big step of just, okay, I'm going to dip my toe back into this thing. And I remember getting in the elevator with you. This is before class even started. And I was so nervous. I was sweating. And I said to you, I just blurted it out to you. I knew you were the teacher. And you just put me right at ease. You're like, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. I was so, and even in class, I think there was just a moment that stuck with me is I was doing so much, which like I had no concept of, being in front of a camera. It had been such a long time. And you talked about being a mother. And and it was to the class, and I was the oldest student in the class. And you talked about it, with the class of being a mother, and you taking on all these roles and parts in your day-to-day life. And I just started bawling in the class because it was like you put the nail on the head, and it just like I just want to thank you for seeing me in that moment. And it was something that stuck out, and it's so hard, this profession. And when you have a teacher who sees you, I don't know, it's so nice. I'm so glad you were the perfect teacher at that stage, especially to have in that moment. And I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you. That's very
Because you were a newer mom at that phase in your life when you came back.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah,
Donna?
totally.
Yes. Yeah. My kids were small.
Yeah, Kieran was, I was 38 when I gave birth to Kieran. And he's a behemoth of a adult boy, man boy. He's massive. And I remember he was 2 years old. I actually gave up 7 gigs when I was pregnant. And his first year, because so I did that. That happened. And also I was in a play when I was 7 months pregnant. And it was Importance of Being Earnest. And I played Ms. Prism, who is the governess for Cecily. Yes, Cecily. And because I was very pregnant here, so the costume designer made very large breasts to counterbalance it. And I just looked like a very hearty country girl. So Rob hadn't seen me in a long time. Well, he hadn't seen me during rehearsal. And this, as you know, this kind of like the second trimester is when you explode, like when things happen, like you become too pregnant. And he says, "But oh my God!" And he realized he says her boobs are really big. So it was a really interesting. And then I actually did a short kind of film for Stephanie Morgenstern and Mark Ellis, who are showrunners for Flashpoint, as well as Allegiance. It was just one ACSH as well. And she was pregnant at the time too. So we were working as these creative pregnant people. And then when Kieran was 2, I got International Fellow of Shakespeare's Globe. I was an international fellow, and I was going to go away for 2 months. And that was my first time away from Kieran. And that was really hard. And so I want to piggyback on what you said about the acknowledgement of who we are as female artists in this industry. And I had Glyn McDonald, who was my person that talked about being a mother. And they decided for our performance that the mother of our troupe of actors would be the one who would make the entrance into the Globe space for our performance. Because it's the mother, right, that leads it. And I just thought that was, that, and I, it's hard. And then we went away and did a show right after that in New York, Christmas Carol. And we'd worked there every Christmas to go up there. And it was a fantastic time. It was a beautiful time. It's kind of crazy now to work in the city, but it's amazing human beings, amazing, creative, supportive. And Kieran and Rob and I went there every November to December. We did the show. And then Kieran ended up being Tiny Tim when we played the Cratchit when he was 5. It's a bit of being creative and also linking arms with other women, other parents. I remember a wonderful actor, God, I can't remember his name, Richard McMillan, fabulous theater actor, said to me, actors are it's a godsend that we're actors because we can be with our kids all the time. We just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And you can tell.
You got to be creative, but you can do it.
You can always tell a child of a theater person. You just can. Because they're like, our son, we live in a condo, so he knows, he's very close quarters to us, literally in the next room here. And we have all sorts of actors from all walks of life coming and going and screaming and having horrible accents and terrible things happening to them, and or really exciting things happen, because of the storylines. And he just was around that. Like he just kind of knew about how to be with people. Does not faze him. And also being around really creative people, it gives him a sense of the world in a different way, I think, seeing different perspectives and different layers of how humanity works and storytelling. Our son is studying history, and people thought that was interesting, but it is storytelling, right? Like history is storytelling. It's the same kind of thing. And oral history is becoming much more prevalent. It's not about its dates and times and all those things, but it's also the experience of those times that people are really gravitating toward these days. So I thought that was, having a child in a creative life, it's challenging for sure, the uncertainty of the financial situation, all those things. But I think it also, again, I don't know, you just figure it out. Raising, right?
Yeah. And the common theme is you have to be slightly delusional, and you just got is that every person's like, I think I'm just a little crazy and I'm just going to go for it anyway. And, and I feel like one of the things too is there is somewhat that need to be seen. I do feel like it brought me back to myself in many ways, That's the beauty of acting, I think, sometimes is like you get to explore different parts of yourself, which sometimes gets lost in the day-to-day life of managing your children, managing, all of the responsibilities you have as a parent and as a woman.
all of those other roles that you are assigned, really.
Yeah.
So you've got to do this and that and that. And this is the one thing where you get to be like, okay, what do I want to
Yeah.
wear? How do I want to do my hair? You know, who is she, right? And you get
Yeah.
so excited about delving into it. And sometimes it's just, it's a 30-second
Yes.
commercial, but you get to create this moment and you get to make it your
Yeah.
own. And that's what's exciting about it.
And you're very productive with your time. Do you find that you're
Mhm.
very like
Yeah.
individual and this is where it's going to go? You don't have time to navel gaze at any point in time or feel sorry for yourself. Like it's just not happening.
No, and in
No.
some ways that helps performance because I don't have time to
Yeah.
overthink it. I don't have this is my window to lay this tape down and I've got to make it happen. I don't have time to doubt my choices. We got to get
Yeah.
this tape done and I got to move on to the next thing.
So is your son, after Tiny Tim, did he continue in theater at all
No,
or do any
He
other
did.
work?
He actually was doing theater, performing in theater companies that we wanted to perform in, like Soul Pepper, Necessary Angel. It's crazy. That kind of thing.
Like, can you get
Yeah.
me in?
It's like, okay. So he did that. But Kieran loved to collaborate with other actors. I don't think he liked sitting around waiting. So he did film and television, some of that. And it just wasn't like he loved actually doing it, but sitting around going, "Mm." He went to a Tobo School for the Arts. That was fine. But it's funny. Two of his closest friends are actors. And he just goes, and people get kind of like, "Oh, you guys are actors." Ooh, and he was like, "Well, whatever." It's not that exciting.
Yeah. It's like been there.
So I don't know. I mean, I think as I said, I think he's more interested in history and politics and things like that. But he has his actor card and equity and all that stuff.
Oh, amazing.
Wow.
Okay, Catherine, I want to get to some of your film and television credits. I'm so excited. I want to start with The Apprentice, but I did watch Out of My Mind
yeah.
and I bawled my eyes out. I want to
Sure.
talk about that to you after. Okay, so The Apprentice, my goodness, can you please share what that whole process was like
Yeah.
auditioning for the part of Marianne? There's an accent, there's a Scottish accent in there, Scottish American accent that you
Yeah.
had to prepare as well. I want to know if you worked with a dialect coach. What was the experience of being part of a film that's had so much exposure and acclaim? It must have been a wild ride. Tell
yeah.
us. I want to hear the whole
Sure.
process.
So the first time I got the audition, Rob and I were, this is going to be a laugh. Rob and I were actually in Scotland. We were actually in Scotland. And it came in and Scotland at that time 6 hours ahead. So they're 6 hours ahead. Get it that night, which meant and we know that times have changed now. You have 2 days to prepare. But at that time, and so I went, and my agent, said I don't want to do any self tapes when I'm away. No. But he says, "Oh, this is a good one." Go sit and oh my God. So I had to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning to make my hair big because they wanted big hair. I had nothing. So I just didn't wash my hair. I just went and stuck pins there. And then Rob, as we do with our on holiday with no tree to mount our phone, we make shift with garbage cans and boxes of stuff and maybe
Ironing
boards,
boards
things
and
like that.
whatnot. Yeah.
That's my
Ironing
go-to.
boards.
Yeah.
But this is a remote cabin lodge outside of the Isle of Skye, right? So we were like rustic. And we just did it. Like it was ridiculous. It was so bad. So anyway, that was fun. Carried on, came home a couple weeks later. They're still looking for her. So I don't even think I got past the first round. So my agent Mike said, "Look, just have Catherine do it again." Right. So I got a little bit of notes. So we did it. Same thing, very limited text. There was just a little bit here and there. And then 2 hours later, I got a call from the agent saying they're putting it to a producer. And then the next day I got it. Oh, watch it. I didn't meet anybody. And I'm going to come completely clean here. I did not know who Sebastian Stan was. I had no idea. I knew who Martin Donovan was because Martin worked with my husband in a television series called The Firm. And I really liked him. I thought he was really good. I was very excited. I thought, oh, that's good. And then they give you things, and then it all starts happening. Because once you get the gig, it's all like, beep, 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 beep. And they start saying camera test and rehearsal and stuff like this. I go, camera test? What does that mean? I have to audition again in front of a camera? I went, no, you just have to see what you do look like in the frame, and we're going to take stuff. So I went in and we did a rehearsal, which wasn't really rehearsal. It was more exploratory. So I walked in there going, I have to remember saying it's Sebastian Stan. His first name's Sebastian. His Stan is his last name. Because I don't want to say, welcome to the wilds of Canada, like Stan. That would just be embarrassing. I walked in and I didn't know who he was. And he was like, he's the greatest guy. We were all we didn't really know each other, but it was like Ali Abbasi is extraordinary artist. He's a Danish-Iranian director. Watch The Border and watch Holy Spider if you want to get a sense of who he is as a director. Holy Spider was the film that actually banned him from Iran. So he is in exile in Denmark, from what I understand. So he's very provocative. He's a great
Interesting.
storyteller. He looks at everything on the humanity-based level, and that pisses people off if you want to be polarized, right? If you want to villainize and demonize. And Sebastian has a theater training. Also, Martin has theater training. Jeremy has theater training, right? So they all come from that sort of getting in the muck of it. And and then the Cannes Festival premiere, our scene was not in it. In fact, I got a text from Martin.
They had to cut it out.
I got a text from Martin saying, we're hardly in the movie, Cap. Because what happened was that film wrapped at the end of January. It was just, they hired 2 editors to make it happen. Because at least a Can Darling with a Holy Spider, and I think they wanted to bring him back in to make this happen. And we didn't know at that time, like, I don't think that man, my son, the real Trump, was even elected in the Republican Party. So it was very tricky time. And it was done.
Imagine.
They had an American money in it. It was the son who saw it, of the American investor, saw it and told his dad, and his dad pulled the money. And there was no other countries had bought the film ready to go. So then Ali went back to the editing table, brought in some more scenes and created a little bit more. It wasn't until the end of August that Briarcliff Entertainment came in to fill in the gap with the American. So by that time, it was too late for TIFF, but we got a press release at TIFF. And then we got cast and crew on a Thursday, which was beautiful because it was much more intimate. We could all like link arms and hug each other and celebrate each other. But that's the version that you see now. And then the New York premiere happened in October. And that's when all the beep, 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 glitz and glamour, and that I got to explore that world, which was fascinating. Really fascinating world. Very,
So
very
curious.
interesting world. I and the funny thing is, I spent so much time with Sebastian, but I didn't really know him. There was no in between. Sometimes in between takes, you sit down and how's your day? Like, how was Christmas? Do you have a good time?
Yeah. You learn someone's life story.
We
in
didn't have in
between
between
takes. Yeah.
takes. There was no in between takes. It was like,
Yeah.
I'll go. And
You just kept going.
and you had to take care of yourself, right? And but everybody was excellent. The crew. The irony of it is that it's a co-pro between Denmark, Ireland, and Canada, right? So international countries collaborating together. The crew, we all looked after each other. We were all happy to be there because we knew it was bigger than ourselves. And we had to take care of each other. So that's another thing. Check that box. And we all just collaborated together as fellow artists to tell this story with humanity and grace and truth and bravery, right? Isn't that like exact opposite to what the reality of the present day experience is, right? The narrative that's happening on it, right? And I think Dan Beckerman's speech at the Canadian Screen Awards, if you haven't seen it, I suggest you watch it because it's very true. What he said was so beautiful, what he said about our Canadian independent cinema, of how we, as a collective, we are able to tell these stories. And I think it's time we celebrate ourselves in order to do that. The crew has been amazing.
We have a voice. Yeah.
And so, it was a great experience. I'm very grateful for it. Who knows? Cookie time.
Yeah. It's so exciting. Yeah. And what an interesting story so did you do any of this research before you did your second audition tape?
Because I got...
No, you were just like...
I just got the call the day before. Of course, I worked like 3 or 4 hours and dialect coach and all that stuff and learning as much as I can about her, but not before. No, I had no idea. And certainly not in Scotland. I mean, my God.
Your partner is also an actor and you get to riff off all these ideas and that.
We're pretty grateful. Like Rob and I mean, we were best buds and did like rep theater for seven shows. We did rep theater together. Kids theater, we played brother and sister in kids theater, divorced husband and wife. And we played tennis partners and some other thing we did. We did a historical drama, like all that stuff. And then we did this play, brother and sister murder mystery. And the reviews came out and they said, we don't understand the relationship between the brother and sister. And we went, huh? And we were kind of like flirting with each other anyway. But he was like my buddy. Like we would talk about and so we kind of got together then. And it's going to be a summer fling. It's going to be fun. But yeah, we've been, I'm very grateful that we are able to, we already was doing the self-tape business before COVID happened. We were already doing that because we already started our McNally Kindy acting in 2018. We left Armstrong for specific reasons that made it out in the ether for you to figure out. And it's a much different place now. But we were very clear about how we wanted to be aligned in what we wanted to do. And then we've done that and we are very grateful. And we actually do our classes here too. So we have 3 2-hour classes with 4 actors. We like to keep it short because people are busy and things happen. And we like to keep it with just 4 actors, so we have a lot of camera time. And we do it in our space, so we don't pay for studio overhead, so it's not expensive, right? Like, and we know how actors have to. So we do that. Yeah, like it's been an interesting time. We're also one of the panelists and founding members for the Association of Acting Coaches and Educators. We feel very strongly about the efficacy and alignment to. Because it's the Wild West out there right now with acting coaches. Anybody can say they're an acting coach, and there's certain kind of, I think, pedagogy and experience and respect for the craft that, and respect for your fellow actor too as well. So we're very proud to be part of that association.
I'm curious, Catherine, what is your approach to self-taping? What advice do you give developing actors on auditioning and approaching roles and self-taping in general?
Well, there's the technical thing, right? The technical one, you can know what your frame is, know the story that you're telling within the frame. Your eye line, of course, is important too as well. If you have more than one person's on one side of the frame and the camera.
I was watching some of your Instagram videos and you drop these little gems of wisdom for self-tape tips and advice, but also working on your mindset.
But mindset, I came from the mindset because I was an entrepreneur too. I have my own health and wellness business. I've been doing that for 10, 11 years. And I did that because I wanted to bring an extra stream of income alongside what I'm already doing. We also wanted to help a lot of people get healthier and focus on their health and also help other people build businesses too as well. Side business and extra stream of income. Mindset is really important, as we know. When you're an entrepreneur, when you're a coach, when you're an actor, when you're a mom, you have to kind of go with what's being presented to you and not be reactive, because sometimes you react and it's not helpful because then it becomes about you and nobody's interested in that. So I think it's really important to understand, that's what I want to say. Sometimes coaching businesses says you'll book with us, right? You'll book with us. We'll do the bookings. I think that's very dangerous, quite frankly, because there's no guarantee. We know there's so many other variables in place before, and you can't put that actor in that mindset that you're going to make it, this is it, this is the secret sauce, and it's with me. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to that actor. There's a lot of expectation on that. That's not fair. And that's not what it's about. And
it's not a creative way into the work. Like, you don't, if you're going into that with that mindset of like, oh, well, if I work with this coach,
person's going to fix me,
I'm going to book this role. That's not a great way to go into the work. Catherine, we're reaching our hour. I do want to just touch on some of your credits because I want to highlight them.
Yeah.
Out of My Mind, which is a movie that's right now on Disney Plus. I bawled my eyes out watching it. It's so beautiful. And the performances, Phoebe Ray Taylor is incredible.
Close up of her at the top of
Luke Kirby too. Yes. Luke Kirby destroyed me in this. I just cried so much every time he was on there too. Can you share your experience filming this movie? It has such a great story.
Okay. So that in itself was another improvised experience. The director, she would just keep the cameras rolling and pop in ideas. So that confrontation scene between the specialist, guess what that name, but also with the parents and everything. So we just played around, and it was a great thing because that was a callback with the Zoom. I did get a callback Zoom for that. And we riffed with her. So the director's right there. She's an acting coach too. She's also a director and an actor. So you can kind of tell there was a bit of that vibe to it. And it was a hot summer day in a school with no air conditioning. So that's what that is. That's fine. And
that adds to it.
The yummy bits of it. But Phoebe was extraordinary. And, she's just so gentle and vulnerable and present. And again, you learn so much again, right? Like, it's wonderful to kind of go, oh, yes, full circle back to that moment. when you're 11 years old, 12 years old, everything's possible. What's this story we're going to tell? And of course, Rosemary was wonderful. And some of the other actors there, principal, other teacher, like they all come from this theater New York vibe experience. So they're just like talking. And I just love it. Like I just sit there and listen. And of course, Sharon Matthews is delightful, but she's like awesome in it. So it was just great fun. And it's a very,
So great.
very important movie. And people loved the book. And I didn't realize, and the writer was there on set. And she was just, and that's so wonderful to have them feel good about what they're doing. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that was beautifully done. Even just the narration, it was Jennifer Aniston doing the narration. It was so clever. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. You've also had the opportunity to work on some great TV series, including 3 beloved Canadian productions, Anne with an E, Murdoch Mysteries, Schitt's Creek. I mean, what a gift. What advice, Catherine, would you give to actors who are struggling right now and want to progress in their careers? Because it is tough out there. Or any advice that you've received from a mentor that you could pass along?
I come from hindsight, right? Like I've been doing it for a long time. There are always going to be this. It's never that. And anybody who tells you that, they're freaking lying through their teeth. It's bullshit, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah.
There's times when I've definitely started my career. I wasn't at Stratford. I wasn't at Shaw. I wasn't doing the television series. I wasn't even getting recurring roles. I wasn't even getting anything. And all my friends were doing all these fantastic things. And then they had that, and then they went here. And then I came in there, and then I learned it's not that. It's now I've got this in my life, and they're there. And again, it's not comparison. It's just ups and downs. You're kind of all in it together. And I really believe in supporting each other, but not in a toxic, supportive way. Like some people, the sisterhood's doing it for ourselves. It's link arms. But really authentically know that you are cheering for them and rooting for them because you know your time will come. And actually, you get inspired by them. You don't want to have the same career as them, but you will be inspired by people who have moved that way. Because then you can see the end, the light at the end of the tunnel. It's the main thing is like when I see actors my age who are bitter, who I see comment on Facebook pages and I just go, you gave up. Because nobody cares what you think. I hate to say it. Nobody really cares how you feel. Right? You got to do the work, whatever that is, because the world's just going to keep on doing what it's going to do, whether you got an opinion or not. So keep on the focus of what your voice wants to do, and also hone your craft every day. No question. Learn those accents, sing that song, write that poem, read that script, watch that play, go see theater, right? Create something with your fellow actors, go to a cold reading.
Yeah, that's great advice. All right, Catherine. So we are at the end of our hour, and we always love to ask this question to all of our guests.
Okay.
And it is, when you hear the phrase hitting her mark, what does it make you think of? How do you define success professionally or?
Well, hitting your mark. I think of, sometimes when I hear that, I think of when I was swimming competitively and I'd be on the podium and you're on your mark, get set, go.
I love that.
So you're there. And trust that you have got everything that you need to do. You've got it all ready to go. Don't second guess yourself. Go. See what happens.
You just got to go.
And I think as women, we second guess ourselves. We strive for perfection when there's not perfection to be strived. I think we live in the world of shame, and that is just a result of feeling guilty. You're not a bad person. You just made a mistake. It's okay. So hit your mark and then go and trust that all the work you've done up to that point is serving you. And it may serve you in indirect ways. You may not know.
Yes.
So I think that's where and be present, because when you hit the mark and you go, you have to be present. You can't think of the past and you're just like going for it. That makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great answer. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in to Hitting Her Mark. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. For more content and updates, follow us on Instagram at Hitting Her Mark.